There was a time when you could walk into your grandmother's kitchen and instantly feel comforted by the warm, sweet smell of freshly baked apple pie cooling on the windowsill. The cinnamon and sugar filled the air, wrapping you in a feeling of home. On chilly mornings, the scent of wood smoke curling from the chimney mixed with the smell of percolating coffee, strong and earthy, bubbling away in a chrome coffee pot. When you opened the front door, you were greeted by the scent of dew on the grass, and sometimes freshly clipped lawns as neighbors mowed early to beat the heat. Even old wooden porches had a unique smell, a mix of aged pine and the varnish your grandfather applied every spring. Then there were those trips to the local corner store, where the scent of penny candies, licorice, and bubblegum drifted from big glass jars. These everyday smells, once taken for granted, now live only in memory. Small, fleeting aromas that defined an entire way of life. Walking into a 1950s barbershop was like stepping into a cloud of masculine scents. Aftershave, shaving cream, and warm talcum powder hung in the air. The leather chairs had a worn-in smell, mixed with the faint aroma of hair tonic and cigarette smoke from men chatting quietly, newspapers in hand. Then there was the distinctive scent of freshly oiled wooden floors, polished weekly with care. Every Saturday, kids got their haircuts and came home smelling like Barbasol shaving cream and Old Spice. Out on the street, the summer heat brought out the smell of asphalt warming under the sun, and from corner diners came the mouth-watering aroma of grilled burgers and hand-cut fries sizzling on the flat top. Even gas stations had their own memorable smell, gasoline mixed with motor oil and rubber, as attendants wiped their hands on oil-stained rags. These scents marked everyday life, now vanished in today's world of sanitized, scentless spaces. One of the most unforgettable smells of old America was new car smell, leather seats, fresh upholstery, and the faint scent of gasoline as you rode with the windows down on a summer afternoon. Kids sat in the back seat without seat belts, feeling the breeze and the thrill. At school, classrooms had their own aroma: chalk dust, freshly sharpened pencils, and musty old textbooks. The cafeteria served up meals whose scents are burned into memory: meatloaf Thursdays, chicken pot pie, and those little cartons of milk that always smelled faintly sour. Back home, the smell of laundry drying on the clothesline, kissed by sunshine, mixed with the aroma of homemade soap and bleach. Even rain had a special scent. When a summer storm passed, the air filled with the earthy, fresh smell of petrichor on hot pavement. All these little smells were part of a daily rhythm now gone, but not forgotten. Back in the 1950s, walking into a church on Sunday morning meant stepping into an air filled with the scent of old hymn books, polished pews, and floral perfume worn by every woman in her Sunday best. The soft aroma of candles and incense lingered in the air, mingling with the warm, clean scent of pressed suits and dresses. In the kitchen, Sunday roast filled homes with the rich, savory smell of beef and gravy, accompanied by mashed potatoes, green beans, and freshly baked rolls. Outside, freshly cut firewood stacked near the porch gave off a dry, earthy scent, and on holidays the air smelled of pine trees, hot cider, and cinnamon sticks simmering on the stove. Life was full of simple pleasures, and those comforting, familiar smells made every season, every Sunday, feel like a blessing, now replaced by sterile air and artificial scents. Even in the humblest moments, smell defined memories. A library's dusty books, the scent of pages turned by countless hands, brought peace and wonder. Basements smelled like old newspapers, damp concrete, and linseed oil from wooden shelves. The corner bakery always teased you with the smell of fresh bread,
butter rolls and pastries drifting down the street. Fall had its own scent, burning leaves, pumpkins, and the crisp air that hinted of the coming winter. Children knew the sweet, sticky smell of candy apples, caramel, and popcorn from county fairs and Halloween nights. Then there was the smell of old leather baseball gloves, the musty scent of attics, and the sharp tang of metal on old playground swings. Each smell, once so ordinary, now feels rare. A vanished world of texture, warmth, and life, no longer lived, but always remembered.
There was nothing like the smell of a summer night in small-town America. As the sun dipped low, the scent of fresh-cut grass, still warm from the day, drifted through open windows. Screen doors creaked as kids ran outside barefoot, and the air was thick with bug spray and citronella candles, trying to fend off the evening mosquitoes. From nearby houses, the smell of hot dogs and burgers grilling would mix with the sweet scent of corn on the cob, buttered and wrapped in foil on the coals. The old garden hose left a metallic scent on your hands after water fights, and your clothes clung with the smell of sweat, grass, and summer freedom. Later, when fireflies blinked across the yard, the faint smell of flowering jasmine or honeysuckle lingered in the night air. These were the smells of a childhood spent outdoors, where every evening felt like an adventure and smelled like home. There was nothing like the smell of a summer night in small-town America. As the sun dipped low, the scent of fresh-cut grass, still warm from the day, drifted through open windows. Screen doors creaked as kids ran outside barefoot, and the air was thick with bug spray and citronella candles, trying to fend off the evening mosquitoes. From nearby houses, the smell of hot dogs and burgers grilling would mix with the sweet scent of corn on the cob, buttered and wrapped in foil on the coals. The old garden hose left a metallic scent on your hands after water fights, and your clothes clung with the smell of sweat, grass, and summer freedom. Later, when fireflies blinked across the yard, the faint smell of flowering jasmine or honeysuckle lingered in the night air. These were the smells of a childhood spent outdoors, where every evening felt like an adventure and smelled like home. Autumn in 1950s America brought a wave of familiar, comforting smells. The crisp air carried the scent of burning leaves as neighbors raked their yards and lit small fires to clear the brush. The sweet aroma of baking pumpkin pies, cinnamon, and nutmeg filled kitchens, while outside, kids jumped into piles of leaves that left them smelling of earth and smoke. Wool sweaters pulled from storage had that faint smell of cedar chests or mothballs, and school books and paper bags carried their own autumn scent. The local 5 and dime displayed Halloween candy, and the smell of wax lips, caramel apples, and popcorn balls was impossible to ignore. As nights turned cooler, families gathered around wood-burning stoves, the scent of dry wood and coal smoke filling the air. These smells made autumn more than a season. They made it a feeling, one that wrapped around you like a warm, familiar sweater. Every Christmas in 1950s America came with a rich blend of holiday smells that made the season magical. The moment you stepped inside, the scent of fresh pine trees mixed with hot cocoa and the sugary aroma of baking cookies. Kitchens were alive with the smell of gingerbread, nutmeg, and vanilla, while wood-burning fireplaces filled the living room with the smoky warmth of crackling logs. You could smell oranges studded with cloves, peppermint sticks, and mulled cider simmering on the stove. Wrapping paper had a soft, inky scent, and new toys often came with the plastic smell of freshly opened boxes. Outdoors, the cold air carried a clean, brisk scent. Snow, chimney smoke, and the faint aroma of roasting chestnuts from street vendors.
Christmas wasn't just seen or heard, it was smelled. And those scents made the memories last forever, lingering long after the decorations were put away. Even public places had their own smells that marked the era. Movie theaters smelled of buttery popcorn, velvet seats, and cigarette smoke curling through the dim light. Train stations carried the scent of grease, steel, and coal smoke, mixed with leather suitcases and strong coffee from diner cars. Schools had hallways that smelled of floor wax, chalk, and lunchroom food, a strange but familiar mix. In the corner hardware store, the smell of sawdust, oil, and metal tools filled the air, while newspapers and printing ink gave the newsstand its scent. Even the bus station had its own blend of diesel, old vinyl seats, and travel-worn air. These weren't glamorous smells, but they were real, grounding people in daily life. Today, so many of these places feel sterile and scentless, but once, every corner of America had its own scent, and it told you exactly where you were and what life felt like.
Back then, every garage or workshop had a signature smell. A blend of motor oil, grease, sawdust, and old metal tools. The air was thick with the scent of rubber tires, rags soaked in oil, and sometimes a faint odor of gasoline. Fathers and sons worked together on lawnmowers or cars, and the tang of metal shavings and WD-40 filled the space. In summer, the garage door would be wide open, letting in the scent of cut grass and warm asphalt, mixing with the inside smells. There was something comforting about that combination. The earthy, industrial scent of hard work and time spent building, fixing, creating. Even the old wooden workbenches had a smell. Varnish, aged wood, and sometimes old tobacco smoke from a pipe resting nearby. Today's sterile garages lack that character, but once, those smells meant home, tradition, and the sound of life being tinkered with, one tool at a time.
Summers at the county fair were filled with smells you can't find anymore. The air was rich with cotton candy, funnel cakes, and caramel corn, all blending with the smoky scent of grilled sausages and roasted peanuts. The scent of hay and animals drifted from the livestock pens, and the sharp metallic smell of ride machinery hung near the Ferris wheel and tilt-a-whirl. Kids walked around sticky with syrup and sugar, the sweet smell clinging to their clothes. You could smell lemonade stands and freshly popped popcorn, while the occasional whiff of dust and trampled grass rose from beneath the crowds. And always there was that distant, magical scent of prizes. Cheap plastic toys, rubber balloons, and fresh sawdust in game booths. These smells made the fair feel alive. And even now, just a whiff of cotton candy can transport you back to those golden, noisy, joy-filled summer nights.
Early mornings on the farm had their own unforgettable scents. The air was crisp and clean, filled with the earthy smell of damp soil, fresh hay, and barn animals stirring awake. Cow manure, leather saddles, and feed grain mixed into a scent that was rugged but familiar. Fresh milk in metal pails gave off a creamy, warm aroma, and the smell of wooden barns, old and weathered, was ever present. Inside the farmhouse, breakfast smells mingled with the outdoor air, bacon sizzling, biscuits baking, and fresh coffee percolating. Even the wind carried the scent of wildflowers, open fields, and morning dew clinging to clothes hung out to dry. For those who grew up rural, these smells meant life, rhythm, and nature. A daily reminder of the land's heartbeat and a way of life that's nearly vanished.
The local bakery was a place where memories were baked fresh every morning. As you neared the door, the smell of yeast bread, butter rolls, and sweet pastries pulled you in like a magnet. Inside, the air was thick with sugar, cinnamon, and the warm scent of freshly baked pies and donuts. The wooden counters and shelves had absorbed years of flour, spices, and vanilla, creating a unique, cozy smell. Bakers worked early, and by dawn, the scent of coffee brewing joined the mix. Outside, even the sidewalk in front of the bakery smelled of bread and sugar. Parents and kids lined up, taking home brown paper bags warm in their hands, the smell escaping with every crinkle. Today, the sterile smell of supermarket bread doesn't compare. But for those who remember, the smell of a real bakery is a lost joy, still alive in memory.